get to that information, so our supply chain can immediately work with you guys on an alternative plan and not wait for things to go bad and then we are all out of inventory and things like that. So that's the reason why we want to kind of map the sources and the sub-tiers so we understand. And you guys know we don't call every part PQP. It is only a small subset of our critical parts is critical. So these are very essentially important for AMAT, and that's why we're kind of going a little bit more deeper on some of this information. Go ahead, Devesh.
Right. Now coming back to process flow, this is where things start get interesting. So we get into process flow. Again, the grid features are there, very generic. The status very generic. We'd like to cover what all information is here. This is again completely mimicked version of what we used to have in Excel, but things to take care here is we want you to mark the first step as start, like, you know, so that we know this is the start of the cycle, and we want you to mark the last step as end. You can have multiple starts and end depending on your process. So I'd like to show how one of the step looks like. So process step, again, we have done 10, 20, 30, but it's not restricted. You can have alphanumeric process step if you have so. Process type, so we have defined it 4 process types. Either it's a start, it's a process, it's inspection, or it's an end, which is again, you know, a copy of what we do in Excel currently. Process type, so it's an open text. Work instruction, if any. Next step pass. So what happens if this step is pass, right? For example, process will definitely be linear, but if it is inspection, what happens next? We can do that. And what happens if inspection or this step fails? So what is the next step here? So we are pre-populating some of the steps, like you can choose any one of them. Cycle time, first pass, tailed, not mandatory information, but we encourage you to provide that. Special training and sub-tier supplier. Again, this information is pulled from sub-tier supplier tab. So whatever you entered there, it's pulled in here, just in case you are using them. Process step description, what's really going in, drawing notes and remarks. So once we do this, and you have done defining the process, so we have auto-generated this diagram for a quick verification, a visual verification that whatever has been done is correctly laid out here. So we're doing a start, that's incoming, then we inspect. If it is success, we're going to process 2, otherwise we're doing incoming again, and this. So just a visual indication. If you feel like you missed something or this is wrongly connected, you can again go back and edit your next step pass and next step fail columns, and it redraws itself. So once the information is captured in process flow, all of that information is carried forward in process FMECA and process control plan. So once you have completed process process flow, process FMECA will by default have those steps copied. So here you see 10 start is coming. Of course, there may not be any risk against this one. You can leave it blank. And if you feel like this process here 60 may have multiple risks, right? So you can click on this plus button. We will create a copy of this marked as process step -1. If you click again, we'll mark it as process step number, whatever that -2, right? Let me just show it. Right. So like this, and you can have multiple copies of the same record, same line, and we can capture multiple risks. This is done just to ensure that we don't ask same data entry at multiple points. At the same time, it's we are kind of presenting it to you so that, you know, these steps are there. Maybe, you know, we need you to look and assign some failure modes against them.
And also the instruction covers all these in detail, right, Devesh?
Yes, correct. So, okay. Correct. The instruction covers in details like what's all going here. right? Again, please leverage this chat box if you have any confusion. So somebody from AMAT, somebody, and primarily the PQP focal from our end and team members will quickly jump into assistance, and we complete the process faster. So process FMECA. Now, when we go to process control plan, again, same information from process flow has been copied over. Right, and here also we are giving you feature to copy it. For example, you feel like this number 50 it requires the the second line in process control. You can just click on this button and you can have that. Now, one thing here, one more connectivity here we'd like to introduce is once you go into this edit screen, you see we have an option here called as is feature on PQR. So by default it will be no, but then if you say that this feature is on PQR, yes, we will ask you what kind of a gauge R&R will be needed, whether attribute or variable, and we will create a gauge R&R record for you by default.
So one thing that we're doing, right, when you do for the first time, you do not have a gauge R&R record. Say you're done of 5 or 6 PQPs and you have about 7 or 8 gauge R&R completed. Now you're getting a 7th part or 8th part PQP, but you're using the same gauge that is and also the measurement is similar, right? I mean, if you're measuring the diameter, one diameter is 3 plus or minus 0.1, and then now the new part is 3.4 plus or minus 0.15.